What if history is not just a record of empires, armies, and ambitions, but also of secret quests for transcendent truth? What if beneath every famous campaign, every mysterious disappearance, and every ancient map lies a hidden language? A language of symbols, omens, and forgotten truths. Since the dawn of civilization, humankind has sought to push past the known, not merely for wealth or conquest, but to unlock a mystery buried deep within the soul. Some explorers were warriors, others were mystics, but all were seekers of a spring that could restore youth, of a city carved from sound, of a door beneath the snow, of wisdom etched into the stars. In this series, we don't just follow in their footsteps. We attempt to decode their intentions. We ask, what was Alexander the Great really pursuing when he crossed into India and vanished into the deserts of Gadrosia? What did Ponce de Leon hope to find in the tangled jungles of Florida? What whispers still echo from the shamans of the Amazon or from the stones beneath Cappadocia? What hidden knowledge guided Nicholas Roerich into the frozen peaks of the Himalayas? And what lies beneath the frozen silence of Antarctica, that continent no one was meant to enter? These are not just stories of distant lands. They are not myths to entertain. They are fragments of a puzzle, the ancient architecture of a forgotten wisdom. And together, we will begin to reassemble it. These are not just stories of explorers. They are parables of the soul's eternal hunger for the sacred. Join us on this mind-expanding journey through the secrets of history's most mysterious expeditions. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, because you've just stepped into Welcome to Esoteric Philosophy. Alexander the Great and the Eastern Mysteries.
From the very start, Alexander's life was wrapped in portent and prophecy. Legends say that on the eve of his mother Olympias's wedding to King Philip, she dreamed a thunderbolt struck her womb, igniting a fire that spread before dying away. Not long after, Philip himself dreamed he sealed Olympias's womb with a lion-engraved seal, a sign, seers said, that her child would have a lion's bold heart. When baby Alexander was still in the cradle, a great serpent was found coiled beside Olympias as she slept. Philip, awestruck, wondered if this hinted that his wife lay with a god in serpent form. Indeed, Olympias was known to partake in orgiastic rites of Dionysus, dancing with tame serpents twining in her hair. These whispers of divine paternity instilled in Alexander from youth a sense of destiny. As a boy, he and his mother were initiated into the mystery cults of Samothrace, secret rites that taught him to believe in hidden truths and the favor of the gods. Such omens and initiations set the stage for a life guided by oracles and visions. Years later, Alexander made a fateful journey to the Siwa oasis in the Libyan desert to consult the oracle of Ammon. In a remote temple surrounded by palm trees and shifting sands, he was addressed by the high priest as son of Zeus Ammon. This moment transformed him. When he left Siwa, he believed he was not only born to rule, but divinely sanctioned. After conquering Persia, Alexander began adopting Persian customs, including proskynesis, the act of bowing deeply to the king. This offended many Greeks, but was consistent with the image Alexander was constructing, that of a universal king uniting East and West. He sought more than military conquest. In India, he met yogis and gymnosophists who challenged his views. One naked philosopher told him, "You may conquer the world, but you cannot escape death." This encounter humbled Alexander, revealing his thirst not just for power, but for wisdom.
He also became fascinated by the idea of immortality. Stories of the water of life, a spring that grants eternal youth, surfaced during his campaigns. In one legend, Alexander and his servant crossed the land of darkness in search of it. The servant drank and became immortal, but Alexander missed his chance.
These stories mirror the epic of Gilgamesh, where the hero seeks eternal life only to find wisdom. Like Gilgamesh, Alexander's journey was inward as much as outward. When he died in Babylon, the ancient world mourned not just a king, but a man who had tried to transcend mortality. His body was preserved in honey, his legend in myth. Alexander's quest wasn't for land, it was for the secret fire, the hidden spark, the divine thread linking kings to gods and humans to the infinite. He did not find it in temples or thrones, but in the journey, in the visions, and in the soul's longing. He came closer than most.
Ponce de Leon and the Fountain of Life.
Juan Ponce de Leon, often dismissed as a conquistador chasing myths, was likely in search of something far older and deeper, the archetype of the spring, water as renewal, as rebirth, as a symbol of inner transformation. Legends of Al-Qidr, the green man of Islamic mysticism, told of a hidden spring that conferred immortality. Moorish lore passed through the Iberian Peninsula, carried into Spain during the Reconquista, may have planted the seed. In Florida, he found jungle and resistance, but also silence. Springs bubbled through limestone. One tale says he saw a figure in green mist, whispering, "Not yet." It wasn't youth he sought, but perhaps absolution, gnosis. In all sacred traditions, water is the veil between life and spirit. Baptism, Amrita, Urd's well, the Nile. The fountain of youth isn't real because it's not meant to be. It's meant to awaken something in us, and so it did in him. His name became immortal, forever linked to the fountain he never found, because perhaps the fountain was never a place. It was a reflection, a memory, a mirror of the soul's thirst to return to the source.
Secrets of the Amazon rainforest.
The Amazon, a vast green ocean of mystery, pulsing with life. Older than empire and deeper than memory. For centuries, it has swallowed explorers, whispered secrets in the wind, and guarded what no map can capture. To the outsider, it appears impenetrable: vines, fog, insects, and heat. But for the native peoples, it is sacred ground, a living library of spirits, symbols, and sentient power. Percy Fawcett, the British explorer, believed the jungle held more than mere tribes. He called it Zed, a lost city. Yes, but more than that, a veiled civilization, perhaps Atlantean in origin, imbued with higher wisdom. He followed rumors from missionaries and indigenous legends alike, believing Z to be real. In 1925, he vanished into the jungle, his final message cryptic, as if he were on the threshold of revelation. But Fawcett was not the first. For millennia, shamans of the Amazon have spoken of hidden cities, not of gold, but of spiritual resonance, places where the forest itself becomes a cathedral, and sound. Yes, sound sculpts matter. Among the Shipibo and Kaksinawa peoples, the rainforest is alive with patterns, visual, sonic, and energetic. Through ayahuasca, they journey beyond the visible into the molecular fabric of the world. They speak of beings of light, of serpents made of sound, and of receiving knowledge not learned, but remembered. Their songs, called Icaros, are said to shape reality, vibrating healing into existence. In this world, knowledge is not written, it is sung. It is encoded in nature, waiting to be read by those whose minds are open enough. Fawcett's disappearance might be more than tragedy. It may have been transformation. Some say he found Z. Others say Z was never a place, but a state of consciousness, a temple in the mind, guarded by the jungle's sentient force. From a mystical perspective, the Amazon is a mirror of the primeval subconscious, vast, wild, untamed, but rich with symbols. Its rivers are arteries of Gaia, and within its depths lie the lost whispers of a time before forgetting. The ancient myths speak of the anaconda, the serpent mother who created the rivers and taught the first humans. In her coils are wrapped the codes of life. And to this day, shamans invoke her not as myth, but as presence. Just as Alexander met oracles in deserts and Ponce found visions in springs, the seekers who enter the Amazon find living spirits in vines and leaves. And just as in dreams, what they find is rarely what they sought, but exactly what they needed. The jungle hides not just ruins, it hides truths, and it reveals them only to those who have ears to hear and hearts brave enough to be changed. What Percy Fawcett pursued may remain nameless, but his journey reminds us not all maps lead outward, some point in.
Anatolia and the underground temples.
Beneath the soft hills of central Anatolia, carved into volcanic rock and hidden for millennia, lies a world beneath the world. These are not just caves. They are temples, sanctuaries, and memories in stone. The ancient underground cities of Derinkuyu and Kaimakli descend many levels below the surface. Narrow tunnels open into vast chambers, halls of worship, granaries, ventilation shafts, and wells. But their true purpose may be older and stranger than mere refuge. Some believe these were initiation sites, places where the soul underwent symbolic death and rebirth. A pilgrim would descend through levels of darkness, shedding ego, fear, and illusion, to emerge transformed. The journey mimics the descent into the underworld, known in many traditions, Inanna, Orpheus, Osiris. The underground geometry is not random. Carvings suggest sacred proportions. Symbols linked to ancient solar cults, perhaps even Proto-Zoroastrian influences, are etched into the walls. At Göbekli Tepe, a nearby megalithic site from 10,000 BCE, stone pillars bear animals in precise celestial alignments. The stars, it seems, were always part of the message. This region has long been a bridge between Asia and Europe, sky and earth, spirit and matter. Cappadocia's honeycombed landscape was used by early Christian mystics who left frescoes and symbols in the rock churches. But before them came others, perhaps the descendants of Neolithic star priests whose wisdom flowed underground. Even today, the feeling in these places is palpable. Silence is total. The air is cool, untouched, and there is the eerie sense that you are not alone, not in the ghostly sense, but in the sacred one, as if the very stones remember. What if these caverns were not escapes from war, but entrances into the sacred? What if they are mirrors of the cosmos, built inward instead of upward? To descend into these cities is to enter a dream of stone, a journey into the inner temple. The ancients called it the axis mundi, the world axis, a place where all realms connect. And there, beneath the dust and shadow, waits a wisdom that has outlived empire, language, and even memory.
Nicholas Roerich and the Shambhala prophecies.
High in the Himalayas, cloaked in snow and silence, a painter walked with monks and dreams. Nicholas Roerich, Russian mystic and artist, was not a conqueror, but a pilgrim of beauty and truth. In the 1920s and 30s, he led expeditions across the Tibetan plateau, searching for something deeper than geography, Shambhala, the mythical kingdom said to lie hidden in the folds of the mountains, where enlightened beings keep the sacred flame of wisdom alive. Shambhala is not a utopia of gold and ease. It is a center of light in the world, a city of the soul. Tibetan prophecy tells of the Rigden kings, a line of luminous rulers who will one day return when the world is most in need. Roerich believed these myths were more than symbols, that they were echoes of an ancient truth. In monastery after monastery, Roerich was shown ancient scrolls. In whispered tones, lamas spoke of signs in the sky, earthquakes that marked the shifting of inner time, and rivers that flowed from unseen lands. He painted visions of fiery temples, of celestial warriors, of mountain gates that opened into realms uncharted. He believed Shambhala was not just in Tibet, but reflected in every sacred culture, the pure land of the Buddhists, the New Jerusalem of Christianity, the hidden Imam of Islam. In this, Roerich echoed a truth shared by many mystics, that all sacred myths point to the same invisible reality. Roerich was also a bridge between worlds, meeting with the Theosophical Society, working on the League of Nations peace treaties, even co-drafting what would later become the Roerich Pact for the protection of cultural treasures during war. Yet always, behind the diplomacy, was the vision of Shambhala, a realm of inner order, waiting to re-emerge when humanity was ready. And still today, pilgrims wander those mountain passes, seeking not treasure, but truth, not conquest, but contact. For those who believe Shambhala is more than myth, it is a memory, and one day, a return.
Antarctica, ice, silence, and the hidden world below.
At the end of the world lies a silence so deep, it becomes a kind of echo. Antarctica, a continent cloaked in white, sealed in myth, and officially declared a land without nations. But for those attuned to the unseen, it is far from empty. It may in fact be the final veil hiding the ancient past. Legends persist of ice-free maps, showing Antarctica long before its discovery. The Piri Reis map, drawn in 1513, appears to depict part of the southern coast, with startling geographic accuracy. Scholars debate, but mystery seekers wonder, was this land known to a forgotten seafaring civilization? Were there temples buried in ice, older than our history dares to admit? In 1947, Operation High Jump, a massive U.S. Navy expedition led by Admiral Richard Byrd, sailed to Antarctica with over 4,000 personnel, warships, and planes. Officially a training exercise. Unofficially, theories abound. Byrd himself later spoke cryptically of flying objects that could travel from pole to pole at incredible speed. Some suggest Antarctica holds a gateway, a magnetic anomaly so potent it disrupts instruments and perception alike. Others whisper of a hidden city beneath the ice, built by unknown hands, drawing power from crystalline technology or celestial alignment. Esoteric traditions, from Hollow Earth myths to Atlantean remembrances, converge here. In Tibetan lore, Agartha, a subterranean realm of sages, is sometimes said to have an entrance beneath the pole. In Western occultism, Antarctica becomes the final mirror, where all polarities converge, light and dark, past and future, myth and matter. The ice is not lifeless, it holds memory. Even the Nazi expedition of 1938 to Neuschwabenland has become the subject of intense speculation. What were they really seeking? Was it mere strategic interest? Or did they hope to unlock an ancient force? Perhaps Antarctica is not a place we conquer. It is a place that observes, a library of cosmic time wrapped in snow. And like all libraries, it waits for those brave enough to read its silence.
From deserts to jungles, from mountains to frozen wastelands, our explorers were driven not by conquest alone, but by an inner hunger to find that which lies beyond the veil. Each journey was a reflection of an older truth, that behind every map is a mystery, behind every step, a symbol. These were not merely expeditions. They were pilgrimages of the soul. If this path speaks to something within you, a memory, a question, a calling, then this is just the beginning. Leave a comment sharing what resonated with you. Like this video if the mysteries stirred your imagination. And subscribe, not just to this channel, but to the unfolding journey, one of rediscovery, reflection, and revelation. The map is within. Let us walk it together. You are watching Esoteric Philosophy, where the invisible begins to reveal itself.